So I just had said that, write down some questions if during the presentation. Our goal today is to really make sure that as much information about Mexico Mission gets out, because people are always saying, what do you do with this and that? So we've got broken down into 9 different categories. The first one is going to start with Kathy Icola that's coming up. Are you mic'd? And then we're going to go on to Michael Durkin over here, who's going to talk a little bit about the building stuff. So we're ready to go. Trish, oh yeah, she's right there. Okay. Oh, you got a microphone over there? Oh, this one right. You got a microphone?
All right, we got a couple more people coming in. We'll give them a second. Oh, that's true. Okay. So, we started with, let's see, Marie, it's 2, oh, there we go. Well, maybe not. Did you click it? Okay, I guess you'll have to click it. One of my roles going down there, I was just open for whatever God wanted me to do, and it ended up that I got to be part of the shower project, which is something new. Greg Philo saw some videos online and said, hey, that's something that we could do. So the next slide gives you an idea. We use these liquid fertilizer containers. It's farming down there, so lots of farms order in this all kinds of liquid fertilizer, and we ended up taking one plus another to make the shower part. So the next slide, then you put one on top of the other, you cut out the tops on the inside so that they kind of matched, and left just enough of the edge so that there was a rim for putting shower or soap or whatever. Cut a door, affixed it to the frame that we had cut off, and then the final thing would be to get a third tank that you'd put on top, and that one would be for the water itself. And then we'd attach some plumbing. So Jed and I worked up together, and we did this all week pretty much, putting together 4 of the showers. And the first one took about 2 days, and then the other ones we went a lot quicker. And John helped, a number of people helped as well, but it was just a matter of attaching the pieces together. Put in the plumbing so that it was just a line coming down from the water tank, coming up. There was a lever that all they would have to do is switch the lever and it would turn on or off. Then it went up to the shower head and it would just come through. So we tested it out. In fact, I didn't take a video of it, but Greg actually walked in there and turned it on himself and got all wet. But the water flows, and we were pretty happy about that. And once we realized it worked, it's like, all right, let's keep going on this. Once we made them, then the idea was, who are we going to deliver them to? And so one of the first ones was, is it Celia? So the first one was to Celia and her family, which is Alvaro's mom and family. So we took it down. We ended up having to lift it up and over a building so that it could be placed in a place that was right for them, that had a nice firm foundation, which is what we did. We put it on a level. We attached it to the wall, and there it is, ready to get filled up with water. It actually was very secure. It was very roomy inside, so even multiple people, like a mother with children, could be in there if they wanted to, and something very good. And just being able to talk with the families. So what we did then, there were 4 of us or so that went out into the community talking with different people, some that we knew, even some that we didn't. We'd see a family and we'd go, maybe. We'd go and we'd talk with them. If they already had a shower house-ish place and they just do bucket showers, if they already had one, then we felt like God was saying, no, that's not the family. But if they didn't have one, we would ask them, would you like a shower? And inevitably, every one of them that we did ask, they were like, yes, absolutely. For them, that's how they can get clean. And one of the places we went to was Marguerite. So Marguerite was one of the people that we had built a house for many years ago. And this is the woman, so here's my main story of the showers. Marguerite had been, her husband wasn't there, she was raising her kids alone, and God told her one day to make tamales because she was going to have 3 angels come and visit her. Well, that day, Doug, Jed, and Greg came to her house, and she had tamales ready for them. And she didn't know why. She just knew God told her to make those. And yeah, and so they ended up building a house for her and her family. Things have changed. She's now in a different kind of abode, but we were able to go to her house. We weren't necessarily planning on doing a shower for her, but we went and we talked with her, and we saw outside her house where it's situated there, it was all cleaned off, like swept. The dirt was all clean. It was almost level. And we asked her, we said, well, what's that space for? She goes, well, I had a doghouse there this morning, and God told me to clear it off. We're like, okay, so would you like a shower? And she was just overjoyed to get a shower. And the extra water is going to come off of, out of that. And she has a garden just to the left and towards us that she loves growing flowers and some of her own fruit and vegetables. So she's going to use that water. She was just tickled pink, and we were tickled pink. We asked her, is there anything else you can do, we can do for you? And she said, yeah, pray. And so that's what we did in the slide before. We just kneeled on the ground. Alia couldn't because her back isn't too good. But Ozzy, the young man, he prayed for her, as well as Marguerite just gave thanks for God providing in such a way. And so when that happens, like Doug said, we only go down there and we're just a little snippet of these people's lives. But God uses us to be instruments to show his mercy and provision. And we get to be blessed. And so, we just went to different houses. We went to this gentleman's house. Right behind him is where we put the shower. And we had to use different methods. Next slide. To put it up, we had to put braces so that the wind wouldn't blow it over. So just different ways in which we put these showers into place. This little young man, he got one as well in his family, had to lift it over his fence. But again, working together, we were able to accomplish this one new project. And that was just such a joy to be able to give people the opportunity to get clean in a way that is more than just, not to say that there's anything bad about dumping a bucket of water over you, but this way they can control it, they have privacy, and they can reuse the water in ways that would help them. Mm-hmm.
John?
Hello? Yep, you're next. So my job was to be on the roofing team. And one rule was if you were under 30, you were on the roof. So that our whole process of the roof took like 3 or 4 days. The first whole day was all demo. And man, I got really dirty. And the bad part was I was the last to take a shower. See, there we are on the roof. That's luckily after we took our showers, because if it wasn't, you'd probably smell us through the pictures. And so this whole process took like 2 or 3 days just to put the shingles on, and it was kind of monotonous, but slow and steady wins the race. And while we were doing that, we Also, you can see we were building the front porch. We were rebuilding those posts and making it so like the house wouldn't fall over. I didn't really do this, but it does look great, wouldn't you say? Yeah. So,
Look at that caulking job.
uh-huh.
Someone did a really nice job on the caulking.
I wonder who that was.
That's the next shower.
Oh, look there.
See? Yeah. That's what it looks like when it's done. It just matches with the house. Yeah, and it looks very nice. We redid that front part too. What do you call that?
These guys
Fascia
didn't even
boards.
see that picture. I brought that from.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was the end result.
Look at Mike on
Yeah,
the sink.
then I also, me and my dad did this other project where we had to fix the sink. That was a blast. And it would have been
So
easier.
we tried to turn that handle. What happened?
Yeah, we didn't try to turn it. You did and broke it. Yeah, it would have been a lot easier if we didn't have to go to the.
Did both of you get under that?
Yeah.
That's a good picture.
That's a great picture.
Put that up. I didn't contribute that picture. Oh, but look.
Yeah, look, we did get it done, and it's all better now. She really enjoys it. We put down some shingles so there wasn't more water damage that would happen. And all in all, yeah.
And we recaulked the sink.
We,
Okay.
Okay. Good job.
Go Kathy, too. Woo!
Okay. All right, so my name is Jamie. I was helping with the sewing ministry this year. It was a very different year for me because normally I have Chris Bolf with me, and she's the one who kind of leads it all. And so I was kind of the one to do it all this year, and it was challenging, but it was a really good experience. So this is our classroom that we have in the pictures here. That's our sewing class. We brought down 5 sewing machines, and Alia had 4 of her own machines there. So we actually had, I think, 12 women sewing, so a couple of them were trading machines. These are some of our finished products. You're going to see a lot of different sewing pictures coming up. But it was a really interesting year because I went down not exactly sure what we would be sewing. Didn't really have a specific plan in mind. And God provided everything we needed. He had the pattern. Alia had the patterns. We were able to go to the fabric store and get fabric. And these pictures, these are curtains that the ladies are sewing. Here they're working on purses. They're making purses. They really love their bright colored fabrics. And it was just a really great experience. It was a lot of fun. I have some show and tell I brought. So I've brought a couple hats that we've made since we've been there. Yeah. I have, what else? I have a purse, a couple purses.
I can model that.
Sure, you want to model a purse? All right.
Is it like this?
Wait, I got one more thing you can model. Here you
Oh,
go.
cool. Do I need an apron?
Yeah, and you
Oh,
get
I
an
love
apron
that.
too.
Excited.
Yeah. So this picture is my my ladies that are making the hats. It was so much fun. They don't, I don't speak Spanish very well. They don't speak English, but it was great. So yeah, you look great.
Is this going to be on the website?
Yeah.
Oh, you can.
Yeah. And I had the help of Trish McKay with me. She was invaluable in helping me with the translation because I'm not good with the Spanish, so she was very good at that. So this little girl in the picture, her name is Lydia, and I have known her mom since before she was born, so it's really neat every year to be able to go down and see her. That's my ladies with their hats after they finished making them. The woman there's a woman who was in that picture with the plaid shirt, the red plaid shirt. She, I was told, was not a Christian, but was interested in attending church after this, so I thought that was really neat. So, yeah.
No.
Oh,
We're going to wait for the end.
yeah. Oh.
Sorry.
And I love this one. This is one of the hats that was made. She's wearing, her mom made her hat. And it was just such a great experience. we had, I called it my feeding of the 5,000 moment that we had while we were there, where I'm like, we should bring some food to the ladies. And so I said, Trish, what do we have? We had a half of a container of an egg casserole left over from breakfast, and a couple things of tortillas, and I think some soda. And we're like, okay, we'll bring this, thinking we had 20 ladies. As soon as the food comes out, many people just started coming in. We're not even sure where they were coming from. There was men, women, children. And I'm like, I don't think we're going to be able to feed all these people. But lo and behold, by the time everyone had had food, there was leftovers in the containers still. It was very neat.
What's that called?
Yeah.
A miracle.
A miracle.
Miracle.
And that actually happened, yeah. That actually happened 2 other times during that same trip. I mean, it was amazing. You'd bring this small amount of food just thinking we have a couple people, and so many people would come in, but you'd have food for everybody. And it was just a neat thing to see.
Thanks, Jamie. I would interject one thing. We, for the many years, have been bringing down basically the same kind of sewing machine. We've had people ask us if we could, but we thought it was best if most of the ladies down there would be participating. We buy them at Walmart, take them down, or bought them down there before too. But anyway, that was a good thing. And we buy materials. We keep them keeping in touch with Ailey and checking her stock and stuff. So I always buy material when I go down in pre-trip, and we always buy a bunch of stuff this year. So it's an ongoing ministry, not just us down there. That's the same thing we've talked about. It's ongoing, year-round. Keep in touch with her and those kind of things. So, okay, Vacation Bible School. Thanks, Jamie. Good job. It was a treat to have Jamie down there. I think the job of 4 people, actually.
Well, I had Trish, so she was my helper.
She's good. So anyway, Caesar that we spoke a little bit about. By the way, I do want to interject one thing I left off, that Alvaro and Caesar are still going out and ministering to Alvaro's friends that he used to hang out with. So that's just that, continuation of things. So Caesar was able to help us. He has a band down there, and Ailey and I talked. She had a really bad back that week, so we brought Caesar in for Vacation Bible School, and he talked to the little kids there. He had a band back there. He was very good with the kids. We had a puppet show. I hate to tell anybody in the congregation, we actually gave him our puppets that we had for years and years, thinking that why do God's puppets got to sit in the room back there? Mm-hmm. So it's like, think of other people's besides yourself. So we gave him the puppets, actually gave him we built that
screen
thing that they hide behind. So that was just another God thing. So he's singing with the group. Kids, you can go to the next slide. There's a typical little kid that we love seeing down there. Big smiles, just the ongoing VBS there. We did that on a Thursday afternoon for about 2.5 hours. Then they were going to do a craft that Mercedes, who's Caesar's wife, was up in San Diego, and so she did buy some stuff for crafts, but we ended up not having time, so we did some coloring for them back in the room. And this room, by the way, is a room that Ailey inherited from someone that has a big cement building. You saw pictures of it with the gals out there, and we walled off. You saw that wall. So the vacation, all the ministry stuff goes in like this side, and then the right-hand angle we use for sewing. So, and Ailey's got a bunch of pictures on the wall. But praying for the children, that's something we hadn't done too much before. But that was an encouragement from Caesar, so we appreciated that. So we went through the whole crowd. We didn't take pictures of everyone, but go to the next one. This is our feeding of the 5,000, but maybe it was 150. But that's about how many people showed up. But I was making sure we ate a little bit to make sure it wasn't bad. So no, it's good. That's okay. That's about all for that.
Hey, I have a mic on my head. So am I good to go?
Yeah.
So one of the things that when Doug asked me, hey, what stood out most to you? For me, I was going for 2 reasons. One is to figure out safety and logistics and stuff like that as a ministry person. The other one was to figure out how it would be received. 1 in the community, and then 2 with the community that we served with. If you hear about a trip that's been going on for 30 some odd years, you go, man, I may feel like an outsider if we go on this. I will tell you what, between Doug and Jed and Greg, they opened the doors and really helped us to feel comfortable. Those of us that were the 7 newbies that were on the trip, I know that they just broke down any barriers. And that's from getting on the plane and waiting for that trip to traveling together to sharing stories. It was fantastic. No worries about that at all. You know, the other thing that happened when you think about relationships, it was different this year than other years. Where normally, I get excited, I'm going to stand. Anyway, it was different than other years, where normally you go in and build a house, right? And you go to that one site, you're at your compound, you go to the site, and back and forth. This year, we're all over in little subgroups, right? And so we got a chance to not only meet Alia, and hear, which I'd heard all kinds of great things from Jamie about, but we got to work with hearing about people's churches, with Pastor Nettie. We got to work with Caesar and hearing about his ministry. Not only did he take in Alvaro, but he takes in, it was eight boys, 6 or 8 boys that they were growing up to be young men of character in this area where that's such a huge issue.
With no salary.
No salary, right. And then the other thing that I thought was super cool is seeing, we made friends with children, we made friends with each other, but we also made friends with these ministries. One of them was, there's Alia there with Jamie. We had an opportunity to meet Dorothy. We'll see if you see it, just point it out to me. There she is. Dorothy was doing this ministry where she was caring for women who were in abusive relationships, and she got them off the street. And so she had this building that used to be like a commercial building. Here's an example of it here. They just put that second story on there. Below, she made a restaurant so the women could learn to be bakers and learn to be cooks and learn to trade, like serving as waitresses and whatnot, and work in a cash register. Then she would train them on how to do those things, and while she was doing that, she's giving them a place to live. After doing it for a year, she would provide them a house, or they would build a house for them across the street in the neighborhood. And even before that, they got a practice house to work on paying their bills and managing life and making sure they weren't getting in with the wrong kind of folks. Then they got a house across the street. And now they have a skill and a job, and they can raise their kids in safety. And here's some of the ladies she trained. We got a chance to meet her, work with her, and support her business. That was exciting for me, these relationships that we just get exposed to and hear all kinds of great things about. That didn't happen. No one saw that. This carpet is a little bit coffee brown, isn't it? I'll move over here now. I was drawing attention away from that spill. I had a lid on. Stop talking about it. I can't help it. It's like a train wreck. Here's the second floor. So now she's built up on the second floor of this restaurant, and this is going to be a place where there'll be a house mom kind of deal, where they can, and part of that will be working salon, like hair, nails, that kind of deal. They'll have ways that they can train them, and they can also live there in that facility as well. So hopefully, again, we'll be partnering with them in the future. I just thought, like, not only that, but working with Alia's son, Benji, who would come to the work site. So he'd be working all day, and then he'd come over, and then he'd help us out. And then he's telling stories. What's their son's name? Benji. I said Benji, right?
He's dead.
Oh, what do you say? He's giving me. So Benji he's deaf, which was great for Mike and I, because one, I am, and so we had a common similarity because I can't hear, but also we know sign language. And so between sign language and the broken Spanish we had some great conversations. When it comes down to what I experienced in that relationship aspect was fantastic. And I think everybody who went to serve, the long stories we told, and the pictures give you 1,000 words. Thanks.
One little add thing I give to you too, that I talked to Dorothy on the phone quite a bit, and also emailed to set up eating dinner there, because we ate out in 3 different restaurants, which we'd never done before either. Helped a little bit with Trish not after doing everything. But I'd met her, and when I first saw her when I was there, I'd known her from the old big orphanage back in the day, which she worked there for 10 years, so it was like a homecoming for her and I. It was kind of fun. Kathy?
So one of the things that's pretty normal when we go down is that we have time in the morning to look at God's Word, to encourage one another, to share and discuss. And so one of the things that we did this year was to brought in a couple extra speakers. So Caesar and Alvaro came one morning. Doug was one of the presenters, and we'd just sit out there with our coffee and whatever they wanted us to do or hear or learn or contemplate, we were willing listeners. Jed also did it. Pastor Nettie was supposed to come, but he was unable to come on the day that he was doing it. And then one of the things Jed had us do was get into small groups to be able to have that time of sharing with one another, looking at Scripture and saying, what does this mean for us? And so those are just real precious times of being able to share with people early in the morning, first thing, before we get out there and are doers. We were beers. We were just being in the presence of God, in the presence of one another, and spending time in prayer as well. So that's a great way to start a day anytime you're, either on your own, but certainly in a group like this, to be able to spend time together in that time of knowing that we are there because God had sent us, but we were also there to hear what God wanted us to hear. One of the evenings, we also had Caesar and his family of musicians. One of the things they tell these kids, young people, when they come into their house is, you will go to school and you will learn an instrument or sing or something along that. So everybody in their household either sings or plays an instrument, and that gives them time as a family to share. And they came one evening and gave us a concert, and it was delightful to hear them singing in a couple different languages, including English. Yeah, Mixteco, Spanish, and English. So that just again allows us to get a very tiny glimpse of what God is doing through one family, a husband and wife who are loving their own kids, but then saying, you know what, we can love some other people's kids as well, and bring them up in the knowledge of the Lord, getting that sticky faith in them. And these kids go and they are part of his ministry of sharing God's love, the gospel, the real message of truth to other people. And they serve alongside him. He goes once a week, I think, to the dump.
You go Saturday morning for breakfast too, and gospel message.
Yeah.
In Las Alves.
In Las Alves. And he goes and they share food with people. So it's just a real special time to connect with people who are there doing God's work.
Okay. This will be very short. We do the food preparation. I usually went on a Monday morning this week. This year it didn't work out so well. So I go down to Camelot, which is about 20 miles away from our base camp. A guy named Oscar and his son runs it now, but I've been buying food there for many, many, many years to give away to families. That's actually an example of us actually giving the food away. This is the preparation. By the way, if you see the two kids here and there, that's Josiah in the middle. But those who know Gabby Bremner, that's her husband, Josiah, and their two kids. And she's got two more at home, and she brought her two oldest. So it's kind of cool when you see them. So we prepared those in bags. There's Tristan on the side there helping. And then we put those bags, we give away oil, fried rice, beans, onions, potatoes, and eggs, and a little oil. So that's what we do, and then we went out on a Friday mid-morning, early afternoon. So that's the kitchen helpers. Okay, we're going to do that. Thank you. All right, so I wanted to make sure, that Trish was just a wonderful help. She had responsibility of having breakfast every morning. She and I went to shopping in Portland here before we left and gathered that up and set it down in the trailer with Greg and his truck and trailer. But I also wanted to note that we knew when we went down, and Trish maybe didn't know as much as I did, that it was going to be a tough job. And it's kind of a lot to put on one person, but I also knew that one person on my right and one person on my left were going to be there and chip in, and they did. So it's another God thing. But Jamie, and then Cheyenne and Carson are Gabby's kids, and then Kathy here. But I wanted to thank personally Trish. You did a wonderful job, being as flexible as possibly in a situation like that. So, okay, John.
Yeah.
Trish, you want to stand up, make sure everybody knows who you are? Does everybody hear you? No, I was just saying. No, I'm not ready for the questions yet.
I mean, we only have one more thing and then questions.
Okay, when you do questions, just make sure they have that.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
All right. We've heard a lot about Caesar. Let me show you some pictures about what Pastor Nettie was doing. This was our view going into the church. And I was like, well, it isn't done yet. Are we sure it's open? Sure enough, it's open. Look at the inside. This is the soundboard where they give us these hearing devices where they would have somebody that's speaking on a microphone as the pastor was speaking, translating it to English. So that whole hour, I was able to hear the sermon. We did about an hour of singing and praise team stuff. Some of it they put in English, while some was in Spanish, and you could, by knowing the melodies, you could easily sing along, which was great. It was very comfortable. This is their praise team. This is a hallway outside of the space there, and I believe we've had some assistance in building and financially been able to assist in building some of these extra classrooms.
We sent down $2,000 twice for him to help build the church.
Yeah, and so this is the classrooms they used for Sunday school. While the sermon was going on, they broke the kids out, and they had a couple of classrooms going. This is their playground outside on the back. We just wanted to kind of give you a setting there. So Pastor Nettie he came and visited a couple of times and ate together with us, things like that. This is Caesar again and Alvaro. And this is Mike and I hanging out with Alvaro. What a sweet guy. You know what he brought? Not just joy of Jesus, but he brought hugs. He says so often kids on the streets are afraid to make eye contact, let alone physical contact. And so one of the ways he breaks down barriers is by just being the love of Jesus, by putting his arm around somebody and visiting them. I think it shows part of his change personally, but also how he's trying to have an impact.
We got a surprise for you. We're going to fly him up, and he's going to stay with you for.
Oh, sweet. No, we would have fun. I would have to learn better Spanish. Maybe I'll have Trish over that week to be an interpreter.
Okay, let's go to clothing ministry, and then we'll have some time for questions from you guys. Next slide.
You can do it. You can do it.
This is a room in between the two sheds that we keep the trucks in on Alia's property. We call that the clothing room. Give away a lot of boxes of stuff. About 5, 6, 7 years ago, I bought some of these roll-around things on wheels, so we got 4 of those down there, which is really nice and good. Keep going. Just that whole room is full, and then we used to have a lot of. Judy Gooden used to be real faithful coming down, but she doesn't anymore. So we've decided to. So now Alia has her ladies come in and set that up. So that's just one of the families that got her. Got some new clothes from. That's Bonifacio, which we built a house for over closer to the east of the Zapata area. Great guy. Some more ladies there. Huh? Oh, yeah. So I would like to have Judy and anybody that's here in this picture, I'd like you to stand up and give you some recognition. I heard Shirley was here, but she hurt her arm or something. But anybody else here? Well, this is one of those behind-the-scenes mentality where these gals work all year round. I think Judy's probably, I don't know, I think Judy's the only one that's really gone down. But anyway, those gals are like the... No. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, Mary. I'm sorry. Anyway, I just wanted to point those out. Let's go to the kitchen thing. Where's the kitchens? Wasn't there pictures of Where's the one picture of Trish? You already did that? And the palm tree? Oh.
Good.
You have a question?
Jamie, quick question. Would it be possible for us to order things from the ladies down there?
Yeah, that's hard to say. That's something I would have to, I could bring things back.
Yeah,
So that's a possibility. We can bring things back that they've made and then
Thanks, Ellen.
send the money back to Alia? Is that how that would work? I'm not sure.
think about
Yeah.
it. Because I think there'd be people here who would love to have, buy some
Yeah.
hats or aprons or bags to give for Christmas presents or whatever, I would.
Yeah, that's
Anyhow.
something we'll work on for sure.
All right, raise your hand and the mic will come to you.
Yeah, Mike.
You've been going down there for like 37 years on the mission. Has it been always in the same location, basically?
Pretty much when we actually really started back to Herb Junt's years, don't forget Herb Junt. We built about 30 homes in Camaloo, which is on the north side of where we are now. But we've stayed in Camaloo before. That was the first of the ministry part. But we're now back in Zapata, Colonial Guerrero area. But yeah, Herb actually, he was quite a tiger. He got the landowners up there to give land away. There's a school up there too for us to build houses for them. We built there for years. We were building that was back in the old days, using people's baños and putting cement in wheelbarrows and sleeping in cars and on the floor and stuff. But that's where that went. And then we started, after we're done there, we moved towards Alia's home. So we're in Zapata. They're only like 5 miles away. So does that answer your question? 11:27. We got room for a couple more questions. Jeannie?
How do you fill the water tanks for the showers?
They have water trucks that are going around with drinking water and just regular water. Most of the time, people there just use out of a 52-gallon, 52-gallon barrel. Thank you. Look, I couldn't remember the Spanish for barrel. So, but a truck goes around and goes over, because we put in a lot of water tanks, 1,000-liter water tanks also, but that's how they get their water. Any other questions? Cold water, as in Frio? How about just regular water? Not much ice cubes down there.
It's warm when the sun's shining bright.
Yeah.
It'll warm up in that tank. Maybe you give them a warm shower, which would be
And
nice.
that is true, that is going to do.
And when we were building the showers, just standing in the shower with the sun, Jed said he had never sweat as much as standing in that shower. So we're figuring that if they put some water in the upper tank, that by the time they get ready to take a shower, if the sun's shining, it will be warm water. So it will be actually a very pleasant shower for them.
John?
This is not a question, but it's a give glory to God, thank God for what He is doing. It was in 1980 that the congregation first caught a vision for mission. And a few ladies went to Canada in 85, and the first Mexico mission was in 86. And we teamed up with maybe 30 from us and 20 from a Presbyterian church and 20 from a Baptist church, and each church bought its own bus. That was our first purchase of a bus for Beautiful Savior, and these were yellow, old school buses. And the initial ministry in Mexico was that of building a house, minimal vacation Bible school. It was just a first-time experience. And glory to God for how this has grown. 33 years of mission to Mexico. And all the flags back here, we've had hundreds of people go to dozens of countries, and I just sense a revitalization of the original mission that God gave us and that is continued on, that will continue on with new people and these next 3 weeks of Mexico and then Uganda and international students. So glory to God for what he has done and what he is doing. It's just God's people motivated to follow Jesus.
Thank you, John. Any other questions? I want to be sensitive to closing at 11:30, start on time, end on time. We started
She
late.
said we didn't start on time.
Anything else? I just wanted to comment with John. It was really nice. Michael, keep calling him Michael. Well, he's pretty
Debatable.
But just having a father and son going with this, anyway, it was really good. And Michael's one of those really classy young people that Jesus has got a hold of, and parental
Thank
stuff.
you.
Because we had usually more kids, teenage kids like yourself, going than adults. But it's nice to see the resurrection of that. But anyway, Michael, that was a real treat to have you, and everybody was wonderful. And we always got to remind people that it's not the United States. It's Mexico, and we got to be flexible. So thank you for being here, and God bless you all.